I don't believe that every single person who voted Leave thought they were doing it based on what was financially best for the United Kingdom. It seems as if many people thought the issue was not membership of the EU or not, but whether or not we should be changing or reforming the nature of the country towards that which was more policed, more controlled, and with a very harsh immigration policy. There were many voters who were against not merely the apparatus of political organisation within Europe, but basically the cooperation and development benefits that Britain found as being a member of the EU. And there were, of course, those who had their own views on race and immigration, which were far from what was being said by people like Boris Johnson or Nigel Farage, who somehow thought that they would get what they want as well out of the referendum. Sadly, there were many people on social media who were not campaigners, were not activists, but they were spreading false and misleading information which generated a lot of support from the extreme right. Many people who had not voted before decided to vote in the referendum, and unfortunately these people, when interviewed in some cases, ended up showing their absolute ignorance of the core issues, had done very little research whatsoever, and were driven towards some conclusions which were quite, well, out there. The only real change was that the people we used to trade with heavily, we are less inclined to trade with quite as well, and to get the same conditions with other trading partners that we had previously had agreements with, we had to re-sign agreements with Liz Truss going all around the world trying to secure those positions, and then eventually an agreement with Australia. And apart from that, the overall benefits have been negligible and the disadvantages have been larger. The bad news is that the only real fix to the United Kingdom would probably be a huge amount of deregulation and a huge amount of changes in terms of how we do things and how we spend in general in order to get things back on track where they should be. There is no magic switch to flip in order to make things work as they should, because they used to work better than they do now. I think the reason why people don't want to do that is because of the cost. The cost might not be in money, and business would probably do better once the dust has settled. But many people would be forced into poverty, and many people who are working hard would also be forced into poverty. It would not simply be the fix that people who are a little bit ill would go and get a job, or people who are in wheelchairs go and get office jobs, or people who are depressed get jobs and work through it just like we used to back in the 60s. I don't think that's a fix. I think it's quite narrow-minded to say we can easily fix things when the major benefactor of that fix would probably be the very wealthy. And of course, lowering taxation to draw the wealthy to the UK, mostly to London, to base their finances in the city, well, it's an option, but it's a very hard one. And if a lot of people thought about the cost of it in some regards, they would probably think to themselves, is it really worth the fundamental changes involved? Ultimately, there is no easy answer as to what is a full Brexit, as the notion of it shifts between individuals, from the radical right and the racists, to the centrist who thinks there could be a change of use, to those who think perhaps they got it wrong, and those who think there's nothing to gain whichever way you go, other than by having a fundamental change in how Britain operates, regardless of Brexit.